So I get a ton of DMs asking me why I think the earth is flat, and they ask me to explain why I think the earth is flat without using the Bible. So I'm in Hawaii on vacation right now, and my hotel room is on the 27th floor. So I thought without using the Bible, I could just show you. Where's the curve?
So there are five things that I know no matter how powerful your telescope is, you are never ever going to see these items, all right? Ready for this? Number one, you're never going to see a spacewalk. No matter how powerful your telescope is, you'll never see one of these dudes laying around, floating around in space. Look at me, ha ha ha, giggle giggle, ha ha, theatrics. You're never going to see it. You can see the ISS all day long. You should be able to see a dude floating around. Number two, an airlock. You'll never see a dude go into an airlock, and you'll never see a video of him coming out of the airlock. You can see plenty of pictures of what they claim is an airlock, and there's a dude in there, but it could be doing nothing. It's just a picture. All right? I want to see an airlock actually performing its duty. An airlock. Not that hard to ask for, but you won't see a dude coming out of an airlock into space, into a vacuum, because I'm a vacuum expert. I know that's physically impossible for any dude to live in a vacuum of space, period. Even with a zipped up suit, it's actually laughable. As an expert in vacuum technology, vacuum of space is laughable to me. So, 21 years doing it. Number three, what you will never ever see in space, no matter how big your telescope is the Tesla car. It's floating around in space, right? Space, right? Even Elon Musk says it looks so real. You can tell it's fake because it looks so real. Because it's fake. It's fake. He's telling you it's fake. And people actually believe that there is a fucking car running around in space. Oh, come on, dudes. For real. It's like so clownish and so kiddish. I don't even think a 5-year-old would believe that shit. All right. Next one, number four, the Hubble telescope. Where is the Hubble telescope? Why hasn't anybody captured the Hubble telescope with a telescope? Just floating around up there, right? Go find it. It's 43 feet in diameter. Look. All right. Number 5, the James Webb telescope. Where is this new telescope? Where's it at? This is the picture that they give you. They're not real pictures. They're just CGI of some, looks like a gold dish floating around on a triangle. I don't know if we can get any more kiddish. Seriously, this is what they're spending their money on. And then they release a picture of the clearest photo of an eclipse we've ever seen. And literally you can see all the features on the moon because they just photoshopped it on there. We're gonna believe that shit? We actually don't believe it. So there you go, guys. That's 5 things. No matter how powerful your telescope is, you will never, ever, ever see these things floating around in space. But let me know if you have, because I know you haven't. I don't care how many videos you see. That's a green screen.
Remember The Truman Show? That movie in 1998 with Jim Carrey? And how he realizes and he wakes up to the fact that his whole life is a lie. Everything around him is fake, and everything around him has been manipulated and controlled. He found out the people all around him in his life were all actors with certain lines to go along and execute a certain narrative. Remember when he found out that the weather was manipulated and controlled? And remember when he found out that he was being watched 24/7 to make sure that he didn't, step outside the lines, go outside the narrative? Remember when he found out that life-altering events, horrific events in his life had been executed and coordinated to instill fear, so he didn't step outside the boundaries of what they wanted him to step outside of? Remember that movie? Just a good, entertaining movie. Has no relevance to today. Absolutely no similarities to what we're going through now. I don't know why they would make that movie either. Just for entertainment purposes, I'm sure.
Tinfoil hat fact of the day. Did you know NOAA, who is like the equivalent of NASA, claims that our oceans are only 10% mapped? But we've totally been to space.
I don't know about you, friend, but When I find out somebody lies to me, my trust is a bit broken. Going forward, I'm proceeding with caution. Asking me to put my faith in NASA and these space programs and outer space and all of this mumbo jumbo about the globe is like asking me to believe in Never Never Land. It's just never happening. I absolutely cannot unsee the fakery bakery that is going on behind the scenes. And it's unfortunate because a lot of Globers will sit there and say, oh, you guys don't believe in evidence. No, we do believe in evidence, and there's so much evidence speaking of the contrary. And when you step back and take a look at both models and observe them for what they are, and then think about what logically makes sense after really analyzing it and breaking it down, not one of us hasn't walked away feeling foolish for even believing that the globe was even a possibility.
Just in case you forgot, this was the first ever image placed into the background of the first iPhone. So every time you saw this, you were subliminally programmed to think that this is what the Earth looked like from space. Well, today I'm going to show you a NASA article showing how we got the famous blue marble photo. Now, all you have to do is type in Robert Simmons blue marble. Here you can see he was NASA's data visualizer and designer. Open up said link, and we're going to start right here. The hard part was creating a flat map of Earth's surface with 4 months of satellite data. Alright, come down here. Then we wrapped a flat map around a ball. My part was integrating the surface clouds and oceans to match people's expectations of how Earth looks from space. That ball became the famous blue marble. Now this is exactly what he means when he hits Command Z a lot. Just copy and paste.
You guys, we must have made a dent with our theory that the ISS is orbiting using electrostatic propulsion, because guess who has an electrostatic levitation laboratory now? NASA, dude. Where they're making big balls of steel levitate with electrostatics. And they're talking about their new electric propulsion. And it's no secret now. All of a sudden, NASA's all out in the open with it. I mean, anyone can be honest enough to say that this does not look 250 miles away. And if we look at magnetic field lines from the top through the magnetic field lines on the ferrocell, then we see that we create the exact same pattern that we would see whenever we take a look at the ISS orbital motion over the flat Earth model. We made gigantic headway with this patent showing that triangular spacecraft that uses electrostatics to defy gravity. And that's why it's such a big problem for the theory of relativity. Electrogravitics follow the magnetic field lines, which look exactly like this, and they don't follow the silly curvature of space-time. Come on. So do you think NASA being open and honest now about electric propulsion is their way of being like, oh yeah, we've been doing it all along? Or have we put the pressure on them and now they're like, okay, time to do some damage control?
In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and that's because he was handed a map by the Jewish people that had just been kicked out of Spain, and they got that map from their Phoenician ancestors. And that's next on the trumpet. The expulsion of the Jews from Spain, 1492. In 1492, the Jewish people had to go find a new world. They had a map that had been passed down for thousands of years from their Phoenician ancestors, the most fearless sailors in the world. The Jewish people that employed Christopher Columbus and gave him all of those maps to the New World, well, they used to be the Phoenicians. Let's take the map of time to 1100 BC before King David fought Goliath. I'm going to zoom into that part right there that says Phoenicia. In 1095 BC, the Phoenicians magically transitioned into the Jewish monarchy, right there. The Phoenicians had already sailed all over the world and had mapped it out and knew all the navigational aids to get to the New World. Because there's plenty of signs around here that said they did that already. 2,500 years before Columbus sailed across the ocean, this is the Phoenicians and the Jewish people that hired him. This would have been the currency that they were trading on that dock I just showed you, and this is the head of Baal on the Tyrian coin. And the rich seaport of the Phoenicians, well, that was the city of Tyre. The round harbors on the island of Tyre where the Phoenician fleet docked, that's what some people say was the island of Atlantis. In an attempt to overtake the island, Alexander the Great put wooden pylons down until a sandbar was created and he could walk his army over and overtake the island. It turned it into a peninsula and all of the land built up around it, and I believe that's what happened to the island of Atlantis. This head on the Tyrian coin, that's Baal, and that's quite simply the devil. Book of Ezekiel talking about the king of Tyre right here. The word of the Lord came to the king of Tyre, and he had said, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am God. I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man, and not God. Same chapter. Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyre. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God, in the midst of the seas. That is in the midst of the sea. Somewhere right in here, they removed the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees, so you wouldn't have to put up with reading the truth.
Look at that. Completely flat. Flat earth. Yeah.
The moon does not reflect light from the sun. Light being shined upon a sphere does not illuminate the whole object equally. It has been done and tested many times. You can get a tennis ball and a flashlight and try it yourself. Light being shined upon a sphere always results in a highlight point, as you can see here. The laws of light reflection proves that the moon definitely cannot be a sphere. If it was, however, a solid sphere object, you would have seen a light reflection highlighted point, as seen in these photos. Observe the moon and see how it is equally lit. There is no highlighted point to be seen. Therefore, by the laws of light reflection, it is safe to say that the moon is definitely not a sphere. So the only reason sunlight is reflected in a straight line on our ocean is because our earth is flat. However, if our earth were truly a sphere, light would have looked like this due to the curvature of the earth. So we can come to the conclusion the law of reflection proves that the moon and the earth is definitely not a sphere. In fact, the moon does not rotate. You have lived your whole life seeing one side of the moon. Because it is round, you assume it is a sphere?
Here are 4 objects. They all look round, right? But are they all spheres? How would we know? What if I told you that there is only one object that is not spherical? Can you tell what it is? Can you tell me how you knew it? How would we even know the distance? I can tell you that they are 100 feet away and you will believe it, but they can only be a few inches away.
And I can tell you that they are 10 meters in diameter, but they could only be 5 centimeters in diameter. You can never know using your camera.
Please look at them carefully. Here is the only object that is not spherical here. Here it is. I bet you thought it would be another one. But it will blow your mind if I tell you that the second object is also not spherical, and it's flat. And it will blow your mind even more if I tell you that this third object is concave. But how about this one? This is the only spherical object. We could have an oblate object and you would think it's spherical as well. So looking at something round does not mean it's a sphere. Have you ever seen the moon rotating in the sky? You have always seen one side of it, which makes it impossible for anyone to say the moon is spherical. However, using the word round is correct. A plate is also round. Look at this moon right here. Does it look round? Yes. Does it look like a sphere? Yes. Is it really a sphere? Let's find out. Well, it's not. It's flat.
Globe believers cannot provide proof that the Earth is actually traveling around the Sun. No experiment can prove Earth's movement.
The observation is that we can't tell here in this room whether we are moving or not. That it is not possible to conduct any experiment to tell you whether you are moving or not. No experiment you can do. We could look at the decay of a radioactive nucleus or some electricity and magnetism or bounce a ball, have a pendulum, whatever it is. And there's no experiment you can do to tell you whether you're moving or not. And there's no experiment you can do to tell you whether you're moving or not. And that's led Einstein to relativity.
Wow.
So that's the basis of general relativity, which is our best theory of because you can't measure it.
Gravity is just a big hoax. Here you hear Michio Kaku saying gravity doesn't pull anything towards the center of the Earth. According to Einstein, space pushes things down. My money is on electromagnetism.
Then here comes Einstein asking a different question, and that is, what is the nature and origin of gravity? Einstein said that gravity is nothing but the byproduct of curved space. So, why am I sitting in this chair? A normal person would say, I'm sitting in this chair because gravity pulls me to the ground. But Einstein said, no. There's no such thing as gravitational pull. The Earth has curved the space over my head and around my body. So space is pushing me into my chair. So to summarize Einstein's theory, gravity does not pull. Space pushes.
They tell us right to our face that there are no satellites in space. All so-called satellite communication is based on undersea cables, towers, and computer network.
GH, why are you telling me this? Did your neighbor say something to you?
No, he wasn't home. But he has a satellite phone I thought could help us. I tried to use it, but it didn't work even though it had enough juice. Now the whole point of a satellite phone is that you always have a signal if you have a clear view of the sky, which I did. The only reason why it wouldn't work is if our satellites got knocked out of commission.
Our satellites. You think something happened to our satellites? The ones in space?
The satellites are networked to computers down here.
The satellites are networked to computers down here. The satellites are networked to computers down here.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.